Hi everyone, I am here. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. Hope this finds you guys healthy and safe. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all my friends, my former colleagues, all healthcare professionals that are out there helping all patients that are fighting this coronavirus. So it's a huge thank you to all of them, because it's a huge task to get everyone safe and get everyone healthy, and they're risking their lives. So we really appreciate everything they're doing. We also appreciate everything that all the essential care workers are doing out there, out and about working, so that we can have our community running as normal as possible, or at least running so that lots of us can stay home and be safe. It has been a challenging several weeks for I'm sure lots of us. I know personally for me it's been challenging with trying to manage work, kids, having the kids studying at home and trying to manage life. Big hello to everyone. So thank you very much for joining and saying hello. Feel free to add in any questions or comments. If I don't get to them right now or today, I will definitely get to you later. But I also want to say a big thank you to all the teachers. I have fabulous friends that are teachers, but they are doing a fabulous job trying to keep our kids up and still learning. So all the teachers that my children working with, thank you very much, but also to all the amazing teachers out there. You guys are amazing. You do a fabulous job on a day-to-day basis with our kids when they're at school, but also right now as they are at home, and we are trying to all help them learn in some degree. So thank you very much. So it is a challenging time, but one of the things that I'm trying to focus on with my family is continuing building healthy habits. One of the healthy habits we've been focusing a lot on over the last several years, but also right now, is eating healthy. It's so important to be eating healthy, and it's the best way really to be working on building up your immune system so that your body is as strong as possible, and really inhospitable to any pathogens that are trying to make their way into your body. So eating healthy is something I try to talk to my children about a lot. Generally, eating is it's a social habit. We connect on a social level with people, and lots of us are missing out on eating with our friends, going out for dinners, going to restaurants. So it's also a way to bring back memories from maybe our childhood, or when we're with our loved ones, maybe our parents growing up. We have certain foods that maybe we can remember certain events in our lives. They may trigger memories and so forth. So eating is not only about nutrition. It can bring a lot of comfort, but one of the most important things about eating really is the nutrition that it is bringing to our bodies. So even for children right now, it's important to take into context and just remember that eating does have social aspect to it, and everything else. But if we can always try to remember, so I'm really trying to talk to my children about just gradually, so they hopefully, the more and more they pick up from me, they'll just learn to have good habits overall as they get older. But if they can realize that anything that they put into their mouth, or even for us, if we can realize that anything that we put into our mouth, it has an influence on our health. So either it's doing something good, or it's doing possibly something that's not good, which is more likely to be bad. Anything we eat will affect our microbiome. So our microbiome is the bacteria in our gut. We have a huge host of bacteria in our gut. And so we have a mixture of bacteria that is good, and there's a mixture of bacteria that is not so good. And we need a good balance of both those bacteria, all different types of bacteria, the good ones and the bad ones. And my son, Raja, he likes to think of the bacteria as the good men and the bad men. And as I was going through this whole process of healing my gut myself, he would ask me, "Mummy, are the good men winning today or are the bad men winning?" And so we think of it, and it would be good because he would get the idea of the bacteria in our gut. But what was important was that I would tell him every day that it can vary day to day. So it really does depend on what you're eating. Your gut microbiome is not fixed. It changes depending on what choices you make on a daily basis. So if you're having foods that feed the good bacteria, it will improve. And if you're having foods that are not going to feed the bad bacteria, it won't be as good for you. Some of the foods that are going to feed the bacteria would be feed the good bacteria, would be fresh fruits and vegetables. So anything that really grows that is healthy, as we deem healthy, those would be great choices for you to make to feed your good bacteria. Feeding the bad bacteria would be simple carbs, processed foods and sugar. So those bacteria feed easily with those choices of food. So when I'm talking to my children, I tend to ask them, what choices are you making? Are you choosing foods that are going to help you feed your good bacteria or the good men, or are you choosing foods that are going to help you feed the bad bacteria, the bad men? And it's a delicate balance. It's kind of like a little battle between the good men and the bad men, but it's important that you think of it as it's something that's fluid, it is changing. It's not the same every day, so you have choices and you can always make good choices. If you've made a bad choice, that's fine, but try to make better choices next time, so you can always try to improve it. It's not like you're just making bad choices and you've got no way of improving it. You can by making better choices the next time. There is a huge connection between the gut and the brain. As much as some of the bad food is always very appealing, it may look so attractive that we want to eat it. It's important to realise that it's not always good for us. And so for kids right now, they may be encouraged to eat it just because it looks so attractive. We should always just be aware that having the good food will make us feel better. So if you're not feeling so good, try to make good choices with good food, and hopefully you'll notice a difference in how your mood is, because the gut, the microbiome, have such an influence on our mood, on our physical level of pain, activity or energy levels, so in so many different ways. If you have a couple of days where you can try to make better choices, and then sometimes you'll notice that when you make the not so good choice, you'll notice how it can affect your mood or how it can affect your maybe any energy levels or so forth. So give that a go now whilst you're at home, and you're able to take a bit more control over the food you are eating yourself. As you may not be going out and about. If you're staying at home, if you're fortunate enough to be staying at home, you can really try to take control of your own eating habits a bit more right now. Something else that I find super helpful with my children has been to talk about sugar content. So it's great for children to get used to looking at labels and seeing what's in any food that has a label to it. Really try to understand what's in there, so that they just become more savvy with any foods that they're going to be eating as they get older, and have more control over the food that they're eating. But sugar content is a huge thing. Like sugar, some of us may know already, that sugar isn't good for us. As much as it is tempting to eat it, and it's very addictive, we need to be aware of not getting too much sugar in our diet. Sugar is also sneakily put into lots of foods that we may not even suspect it to be in, such as breads. So it's good for kids to be aware of looking at labels, to be, learning where sugar is and what's in our food. Something I tell my children is to be aware to not get their sugar content above 20 to 25 grams a day. So when they do choose to have a cookie, if it's a pre-made cookie, they'll try to look at the sugar content of that cookie, and from there decide on how many cookies they think they should be having. So it's good for their math skills too. But if it's a homemade cookie, they'll look at look at the recipe and kind of gauge from there how many grams of sugar that cookie may actually have, and try to be aware from there. They also do try to keep aware of how much sugar they've had through the day. So if they've made choices which are involved a little bit more of a higher content in sugar, they'll try to be aware not to have make too many other choices which have sugar in them for that day. It's a great way for them to look into how healthy they're eating, and hopefully continue to learn to make better choices as they grow older. You're commenting how you've been trying to eat a little cleaner, but maybe not as healthy. But it's great that right now is really the time with the children home. Hopefully everyone can be learning more about food. They can get involved in cooking more and make choices that are good for themselves and also good as a family together. Really, if the kids can get involved in cooking and making food from scratch themselves, it's the best way for them to learn to eat healthy, because they'll appreciate the food that they're making themselves. They'll appreciate being able to add in the spices and so forth and make the flavour as they want. And also, I think they'll hopefully appreciate the hard work that they put into it and recognise that it does take work to cook food, but they can make it easier but by making it simpler. So it doesn't always have to be as fancy, but making your own food is amazing. It's an amazing habit to start, and if they're able to grow some herbs or any vegetables in the garden, they can add those to the mix so they can have a healthy homemade homegrown meal if possible. But there's so many ways that we can right now make use of the time that we have at home, staying at home and trying to incorporate healthy habits. Healthy eating is an amazing habit to start, and if you really can do it now, hopefully it'll be something that everyone can take with them as we go back to life, however it's going to be after coronavirus. Hopefully it'll be better for all of us after we've had time now to take stock, to think about what's really important in our lives, and maybe leave behind what isn't important, what doesn't help us, what doesn't serve us. So whatever we find that benefits our lives as a family, as individuals, we can take that forward and make the most of our lives as we go forward, make them healthier, make them happier, so that we can all be as good in this community, in this world together, and all help each other out as much as possible. Hopefully that gives you a few ideas on ways to start conversation with your children, with your families, or even yourself. If you can lead by example, your family, your children will follow. So it's not the easiest thing to make diet changes or healthy habits, but really, if you can make any changes right now, eating healthy and taking care of yourself are the most amazing things that you can do for yourself and your family. So I urge you to try your best and do what works for you. It doesn't have to be huge changes, but start somewhere. And everyone has a spot to start, so start wherever you are and make those changes. Thank you to everybody that came and joined in. I appreciate everyone watching. And just looking at some of the comments, it is Amy, I know you're saying that making changes that you've noticed your mood improving and bloat, and that's really what it is everything that we put into our bodies makes a difference to either our mood or how we feel. So just make the best choices. It doesn't always have to be, everything has to be perfect, but start somewhere and make choices that you're choosing versus just choosing it for the sake of it. So think about your choices, and you'll notice that you'll make better choices overall. So thank you everybody for joining in. I hope this is informative. Please feel free to message me or text in the group with any topics you'd like me to talk about. Hopefully I will be able to help you guys out with talking about those topics very soon. Keep tuned for next week. I will be talking about the immune system, so hopefully I'll give you lots of information to follow up and help make good choices in your life. Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.